Good morning, beautiful people. How are you all? Thank you all for sending likes already. This is probably going to be a little bit of a shorter live today, but still nonetheless, I wanted to hop on. But this will be my last live stream before Christmas, so I appreciate every single one of you. We're going to talk about something completely different than what we have been talking about, and it's meant to be a little bit, I guess, funny. It's interesting though. We're going to be breaking all of it down. So make sure to send some likes. Thank you all for jumping in here. I see Ronald, Gabriel, user 7915, a whole bunch of numbers. Karthik, the fibro queer, good morning. Hope you all are thriving, not just surviving. Hope you all are doing well. So I appreciate every single one of you. Why does my phone get so hot? Oh my goodness gracious. When my phone gets so hot, then the screen starts to get darker, and it's really annoying. It's really annoying because then it makes it harder for me to see. So anyway, hello and good morning. So we're going to talk about something completely different today than what we have been talking about with Luigi Mangione, United Healthcare, all of that stuff. We're going to be talking about the Panama Canal. And you're like, why in the world are we going to be talking about the Panama Canal? Well, this is something that's kind of erupted over the last 24 hours. So we're going to be breaking down some of the where's my green screen? But just to kind of introduce you into it, Donald Trump over the weekend, I think it was at Turning Point USA, and has been very loud on his Truth Social, and y'all make sure to send some likes, in him saying that he wants the Panama Canal back because he is worried about the growing Chinese influence in his paraphrased words. So let me actually show you. Donald Trump over the week, this was like 14 hours ago, has been very, very vocal about wanting the Panama Canal back. Now you're like, back? Yeah, so as a quick little history, we as the United States, in coordination with the Panama, people in Panama, we actually built the Panama Canal. We are the biggest user of it. I think we user over 70% of all transits, according to Trump. But I also think from other sources, I verified that. So he is saying that we should have the Panama Canal back because they keep charging high amounts for our usage of it. And considering that we were the biggest builders of it, I can understand where Trump is following with it. But the way that he's gone about it is really wild. So let me use my little Trump hands. Yes, I still have them. And before you all are like, oh my God, does he agree or disagree? No, I'm just giving you news. I'm just giving you news. This is what's happening over the last 24 hours. I'm not here to be like, oh my God, Trump's an idiot. And I'm not here to be like, Trump's amazing. I'm just giving you the news. All right? This is what he said. He said, the Panama Canal is considered a vital national asset for the United States due to its critical role to America's economy and national security. A secure Panama Canal is crucial, very important. You've never seen anything like it for U.S. commerce. A rapid deployment of the Navy from the Atlantic to the Pacific and drastically cut shipping times to U.S. ports. The United States is the number one user. We're the top. We're always the best of the canal, with over 70% of all transits heading to or from U.S. ports. Considered one of the wonders of the modern world, the Panama Canal opened for business 110 years ago. That's how old Joe Biden is. Maybe he's even older. And was built at a huge cost to the United States in lives and in treasure. 38,000 American men died from infected mosquitoes in the jungles during construction. Teddy Roosevelt was president of the United States at the time of its building, and understood the strength in naval power and trade. When President Jimmy Carter, that peanut, when President Jimmy Carter foolishly gave it away for $1. Pause. He did not give it away for $1. We will go through that. During his term in office, it was solely for Panama to manage, not China or anyone else. It was likely not given for Panama to charge the United States, its Navy, and corporations doing business within our country exorbitant prices and rates of passage. Our Navy and Commerce have been treated very unfair. You've never seen it more unfair. And in an injudicious way. The fees being charged by Panama are ridiculous, especially knowing the extraordinary generosity that has been bestowed to Panama by the U.S. This complete ripoff of our country will immediately stop. Now pause. First off, if you like the Trump hands, then make sure to send some likes. Now, again, for everyone who's in here, immediately, as a brief little thing just to note about the Panama Canal, is that we as the United States actually helped build it. The U.S. largely built the canal in 1914 and administered territory surrounding the passage for decades, while Washington fully handed over control of the canal to Panama in 1999 after a period of joint administration. So, we, as the United States, provided a lot of the treasure, a lot of the money, and a lot of the labor to build the canal, because it was in our best interest. So, when we wanted to ship things around the world, we didn't have to go all the way around South America. So, it was like in our best interest to fund the building of this canal, so that it made it easier for trade to be facilitated. So, going further here, every square meter of the Panama Canal and surrounding area belongs to Panama and will continue belonging. Donald Trump is basically saying that if they don't lower the rates for for America's usage, then he wants the canal back. So basically, Donald Trump is threatening to take the Panama Canal back unless Panama decides to lower the price for usage. And here's the thing. In my opinion, I feel like that makes sense. That all being said, the way that Donald Trump goes about just like completely, instead of trying to do something behind closed doors, instead of trying to negotiate and talk about it, in a diplomatic way, he immediately wants to like stoke outrage and immediately make all of this public and use like shaming in order to get stuff done, which I don't agree with. I don't think is the best way to go about it, but you can certainly say that it has been effective in some ways, perhaps. That all being said, it's just wild that it's just Trump's way of going about stuff is he will just sensationalize it and put it out there in the media, and I just don't think that's the most effective way about going about governing. Nevertheless, he's basically saying, we built the canal, we built it with our money and our labor, people died. And if you don't lower the price for our usage, because we're the biggest user, then we want the canal back. We want it back. If you don't give it to us, we're going to have to do something about it unless you lower the price. Now, again, I think Trump is a prolific liar. That's just true. That all being said, it doesn't mean he doesn't have a point here, but the way he goes about it is crazy. It's crazy. Donald Trump has threatened to demand control of the Panama Canal after accusing Panama of charging excessive rates on U.S. ships passing through one of the busiest waterways in the world. Y'all, please make sure to send some likes. I appreciate every single one of you. One thing I do not know, and I want to be very clear about, is Donald Trump says that they are charging excessive rates on U.S. ships passing through. I am not sure about what he deems as an excessive rate. It could be something that is a lowball price for other countries, but he deems as excessive for the United States. So one thing I don't know is his definition of excessive and what that monetary amount is compared to other users. And he kept going on Truth Social about this. The United States, hold on, I need my hands. The United States has a vested interest in the secure, efficient, and reliable operation of the Panama Canal, and that was always understood. We would and will never let it fall into the wrong hands. If it's going to be in anyone's hands, it's going to be my hands. They might be small, but they do big things. Big things. Huge. Huge. All Seavar, thanks for the corky. It was not given for the benefit of others, but merely as a token of cooperation with us and Panama. If the principles, both moral and legal, of this magnanimous gesture of giving are not followed, then we will demand the Panama Canal be returned to us in full and without question. To the officials of Panama, please be guided accordingly. Now, again, here's my take. You don't have to agree. Look, we as the United States, we largely built the canal. It was our money that helped fund the building of it. And I can go through the whole history here if we want to actually go and see like the whole. We as the United States largely built it with our money and our labor. And people died because of it. There were other governments. I believe the French tried to do one at one point. There were treaties that were negotiated in order to transfer or not transfer ownership of it. But a lot of these Western countries approached Panama and were like, we really want to build this canal through your country so that our exports can get through much easier than having to go all the way around South America. So there was a vested interest in these countries wanting to do this for Panama. And Panama was like, well, we want to make sure that we get a fair shake of this deal, you know, because it's in our land. So that all being said, the United States also, at the time when they were building it, agreed to guarantee the independence of Panama. Now, it was completed in 1914. The Panama Canal symbolized the U.S. technological prowess and economic power. Although U.S. control of the canal eventually became an irritant, U.S. control of the canal became an irritant to the U.S. Panamanian relations, at the time it was heralded as a major foreign policy achievement. So what happened was there was a treaty that actually transferred ownership. So when Donald Trump says that the Panama Canal was bought or sold for $1, I have not seen anything in my knowledge that shows that is true. The Panama Canal has been fully owned and operated by the Republic of Panama ever since the transfer of management from the joint U.S. Panamanian Panama Canal Commission in 1999. Today, the Panama Canal Authority, ACP, is charged with the administration and maintenance of the waterways, resources, and security as an independent entity of the national government. Just putting it out there. The people who own the Panama Canal are the government of Panama and the Isthmian Canal Commission. I can give you a broader history, but that is just a brief overview. And in addition to all of that, Donald Trump continues to use his power of the pulpit, in a sense, to constantly try and use public pressure to get people to do things. And so he posted on his Truth Social that he said, "Welcome to the United States Canal," basically just being like, it's ours. So this guy really knows how to pour gasoline onto a fire. I don't disagree with him on the fact that here's the thing. Here's the timeline. We as the United States used our money and our labor to help build this canal. It was for our interest, but we also decided, and I think it was rightfully decided, to give it over to Panama for them to control and own, because it's in their territory. But upon that, I would think there would be a better negotiation to then give a discount or at least free usage or at least a heavy negotiation, because it's like, if your friend helped you build something and then transferred ownership to you and then you start charging them excessively to use it, it's like, excuse you, I'm part of the reason why this is here. So I understand when Donald Trump says if they don't lower the prices for the United States' usage, that they want the canal back. That all being said, the way he's going about it, instead of doing it behind closed doors in negotiations and using media to fuel this as a way of getting what he wants, kind of like in a temper tantrum, it just really is a different style of, I guess you could say lightly, it's a different style of governance, but I don't know if it's necessarily effective. Like, people might not see that seriously. That all being said, that's how Donald Trump usually goes about doing stuff. So, also, by the way, I just want to throw out there that if there's anyone in the comments that's constantly trying to put me down or be obnoxious or constantly try to come at me for some odd reason, minding your own business is free. So if you don't like the live stream, if you are upset, if you don't like my voice, if you don't like my tenor, if you don't like my personality, whatever, I don't care. Minding your own business is free. Go suck on a sponge, go step on a Lego, go hug a cactus. Be positive and put good things into social media. Don't try to be obnoxious for the purpose of trying to put someone else down because you feel miserable about yourself. That all being said, if you're a quiet listener and you enjoy these live streams, just quickly comment yes or put your favorite emoji in there. If you enjoy the live streams, just the raw information, you enjoy these live streams, just quickly comment your favorite emoji. I'm prepared to be embarrassed if no one does it. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with my opinions. I'm here just to also give you raw information. That's why I do what I do. So if you enjoy these live streams, just quickly comment your favorite emoji or quickly just comment yes. Because you will see how many people in here are very similar to you all. So you're like, well, how did this all start? It started with a couple different Truth Social posts. He even posted saying that he owned, like, the United States, welcome to the United States Canal. He's basically just being like, yeah, we own it now. Yes, we built it and we provided the funding for it. Though under the Carter administration, we actually transferred ownership through a treaty to Panama. That's how this all happened. So also the prime minister of Panama was like, yeah, every square meter of the Panama Canal and the surrounding area belongs to Panama and will continue belonging. So he added that those fees were not decided upon a whim. But then that also hinges on the fact of whether you believe the prime minister or the person, president of whatever, it's president or prime minister. So an estimated 5% of global maritime traffic actually passes through the Panama Canal, which allows ships traveling between Asia and the U.S. East Coast to avoid the long hazardous route around the southern tip of South America. The Panama Canal Authority reported in October the waterway had earned a record revenues of nearly $5 billion last fiscal year. So, does anyone have any questions? I appreciate every single one of you. So, do they charge the U.S. more than other countries? And that I do not know. Remember when the ship got stuck in the Panama Canal? Yes, I do. I do remember that. I love how someone says that I don't know have any knowledge of any of this. I'm very clear about what I have knowledge of and what I don't. The fact that you have the inability to listen is not my problem. Charges are based on ship size and weight. I'm assuming that's what it is, but I can't confirm. So, build a wall around the canal. Oh my god. Build the wall. Let's start out with a brief history here. So Donald Trump is saying that if they don't lower the prices for the U.S. using the Panama Canal, that he wants it back. This is from the Department of State. Building the Panama Canal. President Theodore Roosevelt oversaw the realization of a long-term United States goal, a trans-Isthmian canal. Throughout the 1800s, American and British leaders and businessmen wanted to ship goods quickly and cheaply between the Atlantic and Pacific coasts. To that end, the United States and Great Britain negotiated the Clayton-Bulwer Treaty to rein in rivalry over a proposed canal through the Central American Republic of Nicaragua. The Anglo-American Canal, however, never went beyond the planning stages. The French attempts to build a canal through Panama, which was then a province of Colombia, advanced further, led by Ferdinand de Lesseps. I don't know if I'm saying that right. The builder of the Suez Canal in Egypt. The French began excavating in 1880. Malaria, yellow fever, and other tropical diseases conspired against the de Lesseps campaign, and after 9 years and a loss of approximately 20,000 lives, the French attempt went bankrupt. In spite of such setbacks, American interest in the canal continued unabated. The Hay-Ponce-Forcy Treaty of 1901 abrogated the earlier Clayton-Bulwer Treaty and licensed the United States to build and manage its own canal. Following the heated debate over the location of the proposed canal on June 19th of 1902, the U.S. Senate voted in favor of building the canal through Panama, Within 6 months, the Secretary of State, John Hay, signed a treaty with Colombian Foreign Minister Tomás Herrán to build a new canal. The financial terms were unacceptable to Colombia's Congress, and it rejected the offer. President Roosevelt responded by dispatching U.S. ships to Panama City on the Pacific and Colón on the Atlantic in support of the Panamanian independence. So this was an area that was, I guess, controlled by Colombia. So Panama used to be controlled by Colombia, and there were a bunch of people that were like, no, we want independence, please. And so we, as the United States, were kind of aiding and abetting these people seeking independence. But we also were partly motivated because we wanted to build a canal through that area. And the Colombian government didn't want to didn't want to do it. So, like, you can't say that we were just being generous. We were, oh yeah, you want independence? Great. Well, we want a canal. So we'll work together to do this. Because we kind of are depending on each other. So I don't know if it was necessarily generous. It was more like we both want something that requires us to have the same common enemy. That's from what I'm reading. If that is incorrect, then please clarify in the chat. That all being said, we're reading through everything here. President Roosevelt responded by dispatching U.S. warships to Panama City on the Pacific and Colón on the Atlantic in support of the Panamanian independence. Colombian troops were unable to negotiate the jungles of the Darien Strait, and Panama declared independence on November 3rd, 1903. Also, y'all, if you're enjoying the live stream, please make sure to send some likes. I work hard to do this. I don't get paid to do this. I am just trying to be a fellow citizen, informing everyone. I am not an MSNBC, a CNN, a Fox News. I do not do all of that kind of stuff. I am here just to provide raw information at your fingertips for your convenience. I am a political organizer, former political organizer, I might go back. That all being said, I do work hard to do this. This is my spare time, and I do this, and yet people still get angry and harass me and whatever. But there's also a lot of you that are quiet listeners, and it means a lot that you are a part of the morning live streams, and I love all of you so much. I really do. It means a lot that you all are here. The newly declared Republic of Panama immediately named Philip Bunau Varilla, a French engineer who had been involved in the earlier de Lesseps canal attempt, as an envoy extraordinary and minister plenipotentiary. Oh geez, I cannot read this morning. In his new role, this guy negotiated the Hay-Bunau-Varilla Treaty of 1903, which provided the United States with a 10-mile wide strip of land for the canal, and a one-time $10 million payment to Panama, and the annual annuity of $250,000. The United States also agreed to guarantee the independence of Panama. Completed in 1914, the Panama Canal symbolized U.S. technological prowess and economic power, although the U.S. control of the canal eventually became an irritant to U.S. Panamanian relations. At the time, it was heralded as a major foreign policy achievement. Let me fast forward here. I will also say the U.S. did not sell the Panama Canal. Instead, it transferred it through a treaty in 1999. We'll be getting to that more specifically in a second. So, in the weeks after his victory, President Jimmy Carter's views on the canal began to change. One of his closest advisors, Sol Linowitz, supported a treaty, as did the Secretary of State, Signet Cyrus Vance. The two men were able to convince Carter of the importance of a new treaty, and when he took office, Carter began concluding negotiations with Panama, a priority named the Linowitz co-negotiator with Bunker. Despite the fact that both Carter and Torrijos were eager to conclude a treaty, many obstacles remained. A treaty must be ratified by the Senate with at least a two-thirds majority in order to take effect. Many senators were opposed to giving Panama control over the canal. Most notable of these critics was Strom Thurmond, a Republican from South Carolina. Thurmond, who was born 12 years before the canal had been built, had a different perspective than the Carter administration. He said, quote, "The loss of the canal would contribute to the encirclement of the United States," he stated in 1978 debate. Thurmond and many other conservatives also distrusted Torrijos, whom they considered to be pro-communist. Because of his strong opposition in the Senate, Carter's consultants with Congress amounted to a second treaty of negotiations. So Jimmy Carter was like, hey, we built this canal. We've been kind of operating it. We should give ownership to Panama because it's in their territory, but we want to make sure that we work out a deal so that we as the United States receive, just compensation and usage and all of it. And since we were the ones that helped build it, but it's in their area, their land, we can continue owning and operating it, but we should probably at least give it to them, but we need to make sure that we get something in return. So the Carter administration formulated a strategy to conclude debate over the canal and gain Senate ratification. Carter officials worked on selling the treaty to the public, holding hundreds of forums where policymakers explained the administration's rationale for completing a treaty. Torrijos hosted U.S. senators in Panama, where he stressed that he was neither an enemy of the United States nor a communist. Actor John Wayne, both a conservative and a friend of Torrijos, also endorsed the negotiations. That probably helped. The negotiators decided that their best chance for ratification was to submit 2 treaties to the U.S. Senate. The first, called the Treaty Concerning the Permanent Neutrality and Operation of the Panama Canal, or the Neutrality Treaty, that stated the U.S. could use its military to defend the Panama Canal against any threat to its neutrality, thus allowing perpetual usage of the canal. The second was the Panama Canal Treaty, stated that Panama Canal Zone would cease to exist on November 1979, and the canal itself would be turned over to the Panamanians on December 31st of 1999. These 2 treaties were signed on September 7th of 1977. Basically, what ended up happening was the Panama Canal was then given over to Panama, which, makes sense. Though, where Donald Trump, I think, is coming at it from is he is frustrated because he is saying that we should be taking the canal back if they don't lower their prices. If they don't lower prices for our usage, which we as the United States are one of the biggest users, actually the biggest user of the Panama Canal, then Donald Trump is saying that we should be taking it back. But again, instead of talking about this behind closed doors with the parties, and you know what? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he did. Although he's not even had a chance because he's still not even the president yet. He's the president-elect. So, that all being said, it is, in considering his history of how much he lies, I'm wary of giving Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt in that sense. So, it's very, very interesting situation here. I think that what Donald Trump is actually asking for, and this is my opinion, you can disagree, is reasonable, but he's doing it in a very unreasonable way. He loves the drama of creating this situation. That's very true. Donald Trump is a very dramatic president. He is a very dramatic person. He likes stirring the pot. And if he can use his platforms of social media and get all of his people to start saying and doing stuff, maybe it's unfinished business from his first term. That's valid. It's theirs. Pay what they ask. We need it. They don't necessarily need us. I mean, that's also true. The Panama Canal, it's well, okay, thank you for helping build it, but we still need money. That all being said, it doesn't mean that Panama should then, if this is the case, which we don't know, basically charging the United States so much money to do so. That being said, though, we were the ones that built it. We were the ones that used our labor to do so. So if Panama is constantly asking us for more and more money, that's not a reasonable increase due to inflation, then I can understand where people would be angry and irritated. Though, that being said, the United States has plenty of money and plenty of power. For us to whine that we don't have enough of it is a little bit wild. It's their land. Come on, man. They can do what they want. No, absolutely. That makes sense too. I mean, it's their land. We wanted to build this canal so that we could use it. That makes sense. It's not that they were even wanting a canal in the first place. We as a Western territory wanted this canal there. So it makes sense for people to pay them to use it. So I can see where a lot of people are coming from on this. Cheaper to pay than go around. Yeah. Yeah. Labor from around the world built the Panama Canal, not just the United States. That is true. Although I will also say that there were different attempts that you were talking about. So if they built it for us, we would be charging so much more. That is a very important point. That is a very important point. Yeah. If they built it for us, we would be charging a lot more. Yeah. You know? Just heard that Donald Trump owes taxes to the Panamanian government. He refused to pay his taxes. That's so funny. So covering all of this, there's a treaty. He can't. He cannot just take it. And I'm seeing some of this drama playing out on social media, where Donald Trump specifically is talking about how if he said, if the Panama Canal does not reduce its prices because China is coming in there and they're influencing it a lot, which, by the way, China is the second biggest user of the Panama Canal. We are the biggest user. They are the second biggest user. China does not own the canal. They do not operate the canal. They will use it as a customer. So he's kind of fear-mongering about China's influence on it. Well, it's not. There's no rule saying that they can't use it. Actually look at some of his rhetoric here. He's constantly being like, it was solely for Panama to manage, not China or anyone else. China is not managing the Panama Canal, buddy. That's not how that works. They can use it as an equal customer, but fear-mongering about China does not do anything to then fix your grievance. It's not how that works. And again, he says, when President Jimmy Carter foolishly gave it away for $1. That's not what happened. There was a treaty that was negotiated and it went through the House, the Senate, and signed by the president. It was not sold for $1. It's not sold for $1. So we as the United States largely provide a lot of the labor and the money to build it. Though we also, it's kind of rooted in colonialism as well, because we as the United States approached a part of Colombia, which, you know, now is known as Panama, because Colombia controlled the area, now known as Panama. And the people around there were wanting independence from their government. So we said, we can guarantee you independence from your government if you allow us to build this canal. So they were like, yeah, well, we have the same enemy. You know, you want to build this canal. We want your help securing independence. It was a deal. And that's from what I'm able to gather. I need to go back and fully research through everything here. So that's kind of what ended up happening. And now Donald Trump is claiming that he wants the canal back if they don't reduce the prices for trips going through there. And instead of behind closed doors trying to talk this through, maybe be diplomatic about it, and see what you can do, he decides to immediately make it sensational, drama-seeking, and provocative by bringing it up at different conventions and stuff like that. Donald Trump is a very different president because he uses a lot of shaming and a lot of press to get done what he needs to get done. And I mean, that was a really good point that someone brought up earlier. Like, if Panama approached us and said, we want you to build the canal, then we would be charging them what we want to charge. And like in that instance, let's go through that hypothetical. If instead of it being the way that it was, which the United States provided the labor and the money to build the canal in Panama's territory, if it was the other way around where Panama approached us to do that and we were operating that canal, we decided to charge them whatever we wanted, then they might get a little bit angry, but we would also, it might be better for us to give them a discount or in some ways offset some of that, because they're the reason why it was built, the reason why it's a huge money generator. But it doesn't mean that you owe them everything, you know? So it's really wild for Donald Trump to just post on Truth Social that he just owns the canal now. What I think is so wild is Trump's tactics of getting it. that all being said, we as the United States, initially, through our colonialistic powers, we wanted to build this for our interest. Our interest to build this canal so that we could use it. And I think it was good that the United States actually gave ownership of it to Panama so that they, as a country, could start making money for their economy. I think that's generally good. That's charitable. I feel like that's the way to do it, because if something's in your country, it shouldn't be owned by another country. That being said, if Panama is charging the United States excessive amounts of money in order for their ships to go through there, it might be a little bit unfair, but also at the same time, it's not like we handed this away as a charity project to help them necessarily. We as the United States wanted to build this canal so that we could use it. So it's in their territory. They have the right to make money off of it. And it is very possible that Donald Trump is just whining because he wants more and more of a discount. So anyway, I do need to skedaddle onto work. I appreciate every single one of you. I really, really do. And this is going to be something that's talked about a lot more in the next 48 hours. So shout outs to all of my amazing moderators in here. All of my amazing moderators in here. The Effulgent One, Kate, Akicha. The Effulgent One, Kate, Akicha. That one guy. I love all of you so much. I love you so. Shout outs to all of my amazing moderators. And all of my amazing friends in here. C-Bar, love you, C-Bar. So I appreciate every single one of you. I really, really do. Ginger Monster, love you. Who else was in here? Anyway, I just skedaddle. I have to get to work before I'm late. So just remember that you are beautiful. You are loved. Oh, Hallie, you too. C-Bar, you're awesome. You are valid. You are strong. And you are fierce. Don't let anyone or anything ever dim your shine. Epic Tickle. Oh my god, I love that name. I love you all so much. Bye!